Hey guys, Happy New Year and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to create this schedule animation in React Native. We are going to be displaying the weekdays, and for each individual weekday we are going to have a switch. When you toggle on the switch, we will display some time slots or the details where you can add multiple time slots or you can remove them. And for each individual toggle we are going to also animate the things using React Native Reanimated layout animation, entering and exiting animation. Before we dive in, let me tell you about something truly awesome that you don't want to miss. Software Animation is organizing React Native Paradise 2025. It's a week-long workshop happening this March in the sunny, beautiful island of Tenerife, Spain. Just picture this. Learning React Native with open source experts, the brilliant minds behind React Native Reanimated, React Native Gesture Handler, React Native Screens, React Native SVG, and many other libraries that we use on a daily basis. You'll get hands-on with topics like Expo Router, native modules, app optimizations, performance optimizations, and animations. And after the workshop, well, you can kick back by the pool, connect with other developers, and soak in everything Tenerife has to offer. Sounds amazing? Well, you should head over to paradise.swmention.com for all the details and to grab your spot. I would like to give a huge shout out to Software Mention for sponsoring this video. Your support makes this content possible. And now, let's jump straight into VS Code and start building this awesome animation with React Native Reanimated by Software Mention. Alrighty guys, so we are in VS Code here. I've created a project using Expo and let's start by creating this scheduler component. So new file, scheduler.tsx, create scheduler, save, go back and render the scheduler. Okay, so we have the scheduler here. Okay, now let's go here. I have prepared a couple of constants. Initially, we are going to iterate over the weekdays. For each individual weekday, we will display a different component that will contain the name of the day, switch, and then based on the switch toggle, we will display some other informations, right? And then we have some spacing and a color that we will use for the background, and for the border you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about, and the border radius. So let's start by creating the weekdays. So weekdays map, we have the day and we will render a day. We will pass the day as day and then we will have the key as day. Let's create the function. Day is going to get the day, and the day it's a type of weekday. Okay, we also have it nicely typed. Here render a view. Inside the view, we'll have a text as a day. So hit save. Now we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday till Sunday. And this text, I would like to wrap it into a view. So we have the text itself, but also a switch coming from React Native. Okay. And we are going to have a value as is on and on change. We get the value and is only the value. Let's create this as a state. So I'll say const is on set is on as a React use state. Okay, it's actually on value change. We get the value as a boolean and we have the set is on. So now if we toggle, we are going to also set the state, but also change the UI, let's say, for this button. And what I would like to do now is to make those as a row on the row. So I'll say flex direction, row, okay. And I'll align the items to the center and justify the content space between. So we will decouple those. And I would like to shrink down the size of this button along with some background color. So I'll say color for the track. When it's true, I would like to make this, let's say 999, or even better, 666. Okay, so we have a different color when the track is on or when the switch is on, but I would also like to scale it down. And because at least I don't know a way to scale or properly scale the switch, I came up with this idea of transform scale. So I'll apply a transform and then a scale of 0.7, let's say, okay? I'm scaling it down, but the issue here is that I'm scaling from the center, and I would like to change the transform origin. So I'll apply a different transform origin as 100% on the x-axis, which means it's going to be on the right. 50% on the y-axis, it's going to be in the center, and for the z we don't actually care. And now we are going to apply the scale starting from the left center. Okay, great. Now let's apply some paddings, and I'll go here to the view. I'll get style, padding as spacing. I'll also add a gap of spacing, great, between them. And on the view itself here, I'll add a style border with one border color of color, okay, and a border radius of border radius. Great. Now also let's apply some padding, horizontal padding, it's spacing. Great. So we made some spacings. Actually, you know, I'll just add a horizontal spacing instead. Great. So now we have something to work with. And now I would like to add a background color when the switch is on for a particular day. I would like to add the background color as the color. And I will actually, initially, I would like to have it this color, you know. But when the switch is on, I would like to remove the background color or make it transparent and only keep the border. So I'll say only if it's on, I'll make it transparent. Otherwise, apply the color, right? So now it's kind of off, and boom, press on it. I'll remove the background color. Great. Now let's render as a sibling of this view another view. Only when the switch is on. So if it's on, I'll render a day block now, and let's render the day block function. Day block. I'll return for now a view, and I'll say here text day block. Okay, and this view it's going to be rendered only, of course, only when we have some data to display. I believe I made a mistake here, maybe padding. I'll just add horizontal padding all around, you know. I think this makes more sense. Okay, and also as a sibling for each individual day, initially I would like to start from a time slot. Starting from, let's say, 8 a.m. and then to have a button at the footer saying, you know, add another time slot, which is coming from a state. This is just for UI styling purposes and for the tutorial itself. But of course, in a real life scenario, maybe this data is going to come from an API, maybe it's coming from like a global state management, or, you know, it's not just dummy data. In my example, it's just a dummy data, but you feel free to further extend this functionality. So here I would like to have some state hours and set hours. It's a use state, and I will start with start hour. And start hour, in my case, is going to be 8, you know. So I'll initially start with an array. When you mount this day block, we'll start with an initial array as 8. And then when you press on the button, we are going to add or append to that or push to that array another value based on the existing value or existing last value. So let's start by adding this footer button. So I have it in the clipboard here. I'm just pasting it, but let me walk you through what we have. So we have a pressable. When you press on this view, if the hours length is 0, we are going to reset it with the initial value, which is 8, as an array. Otherwise, we are going to take all the previous values and push another value to this array based on the last hour that exists in this array. So let's say you have 8, 9, 10. If you push another one, it's going to be 11, and so on and so forth, right? And This pressable has inside a view with some styling, with a flex row direction, some gap and some padding. And inside it we are rendering a plus that's coming from Lucid, which is a plus icon, and then a text saying add more. So let me import the plus and also the pressable and hit save, refresh a bit here, and we have this add more button. Great, let me also style this view a bit. And I'll add a gap of spacing, just to add some gap between the day blocks and the footer button itself. Now let's start working on this day block. So I would like to have a list of elements, right? So I'll iterate over the hours, I will map, I'll get the hour, and then I will render some view that's going to contain the from, the time slot, to time slot, and then an X button that's going to remove basically the time slot, right? So I'll have a view here, I'll pass a key, hour, and then the hour itself. I'll apply a style, flex direction as raw. Okay, and inside it I'll have a text starting from, then a text that is going to have the hour, and then 00. Then let me copy this entire thing, and instead of from is going to be 2, hour plus 1, and then we will have an X button. We will take care of that immediately. So we have this view. If we add more, we take the 9, we take the 8 plus 1, boom. Okay. If we unmount this component and mount it again, it's going to start from 8, and so on and so forth, right? So let's style a bit this. I have prepared a component here called hour block that's going to receive the block as a number, which is the hour itself, and then it's going to render a view, and inside this view we have a text. If the block is greater than 9, we don't append a 0 in front of the number, otherwise we append it, and we do some calculations to know if it's PM or AM, right? So hit save, and now let's use this hour block instead of the text itself to render this text, the hour itself. So I'll say the block, it's going to be hour, and do the same for the other block hour. So we have this styling here, nothing fancy, nothing's going on. But we can come back to this view, add a gap of spacing, and align the items to the center, and hit save. Now we should have some proper UI for it, and let's add the X button that's going to remove basically the let's say this slot, right? If you have an X button here, pressing on it is going to remove this time slot. Okay, so let's add the X button as the sibling of the text and the hour block. I have prepared the component so you don't see me typing it. So we have a pressable. When you press on this button, we are going to filter out all the hours that are not equal to the hour that we are pressing on. And inside this pressable, we have a view. We are applying some styling, and we have the X icon that's coming from Lucid icon. So if we press save now, we have X for each individual hour block. If we press on this particular hour or time slot, we are going to remove this. And if we go back to this view that's rendering the entire day, I would like to also apply some gap. You see, here there is no gap, and I would like to add a gap, small gap as a spacing. Great. So now we have some nice UI that we can apply some animations to. In terms of animations, I would like to start bottom top, meaning first of all I would like to animate the entering and exiting of those elements like the time slots, right? Then I would like to apply a different transition when this entire component responsible for the time slots and the footer is going to enter the scene and also exit the scene. And then we will play around with some layout animations. Whenever something is going to change inside those views, I would like to apply a transition between those changes, right? For the layout animation, like the size or the position and everything. The same, of course, applies to the time slot. So if I remove the middle one, the bottom one I would like to be animated based on the new layout position. Great, so let's go to this block, the day block, and instead of a view here where we have each individual element here, instead of a view, I would like to have an animated view. Animated is coming from React Native Reanimated, right? And the only thing that we actually need to do is to apply an entering as entering, exiting as exiting. You know what? Let's add only the entering for now. So entering, let's create this constant here because we are going to reuse it in multiple places. Entering fade in up. That's coming from React Native Reanimated. I would like to make it a springify and I'll apply a damping as damping. So the damping is going to be, let's create this constant, I'll say 14, you know, and hit save now. And the entering, if you see, it's actually, it's fading from down. My bad. So you see, when you mount this view, we are going to apply a transition, a fade in from down animation. Great. Nothing is happening when we remove that. So let's apply an exit direction as well. Exiting is going to be basically the same, but instead of fading down, I would like to do a fade out, only fade out. And let's apply this exiting. Where we have the entering, I will say, you know, if you unmount this node, I would like to apply an exit transition. So I'll do exiting is going to be exiting. Hit save, and now if we add more, you'll see we have an exit. Look, so we have an exit. There is a snap, you know, it's like if you press on the X, you see everything is snapping even though the animation is happening. And the reason for that is because we need to also apply a layout animation. The layout animation is a transition between layout changes. And I would also like to have a layout animation. And this layout animation, I'm making it a constant because we are going to reuse the same layout animation in multiple places. So I'll say const layout, it's a linear transition that's coming from React Native Reanimated with the same springify and damping, right? Hit save, and now if I refresh, you'll see, woof, add. You see, they are just animating. Look. Even though the rest of the elements are not animated, the list itself with the time blocks or the time slots is actually animated. Now I would also like to add a transition for this button here and also for the entire block here. So I'll say, you know, for the day block, I'll do the animation and I'll apply basically the same elements here for the entering, exiting, and the layout. So when the layout is going to happen, instead of just jumping in, from a height to a new height, I'll just apply a transition between those changes. So now if I hit refresh, we should have some animations in place. See, it's like they're not just straight away jumping, but instead there is a small animation. And last but not least, for the pressable inside this container, I would also like to add a layout animation. And to do so for the pressable, because it's not an animated view, we cannot apply those. So we need to create an animated component out of this pressable. So we need to go to the top here and say animated pressable, it's equal to animated, create an animated component by the pressable. And now we have access to entering, exiting, and layout animations, right? So we can do an animated pressable instead and just apply the layout because we don't care about the others. So layout is going to be layout. So now when we are going to add a new one, you see, it's like because the position of this button is going to change because we have added more on top, we are transitioning those. So we are applying a springify animation, which is amazing. So basically we did this entire animation for this inner component, and now we can move at the top position and apply another layout animation. So if we go to the day itself, the only thing that we need to do is again convert this entire container to be an animated view, and apply the same layout transition, because we only care about the layout. We don't care about the entering and exiting for now. So look, you see, it's like, oh, okay, so the layout is going to change. So when we switch on, we are going to append something inside, which makes this entire container to grow. So we apply a transition between the old state and the new state using this layout animation. And pretty much just by doing so, you see, nothing is snappy anymore. And also the rest of the elements are also snappy, because this entire container, if, like for example, for the Friday, if Thursday is going to be on, the Friday position is going to change, but the position is going to change, and this is an animated view with a layout animation or a layout transition. So because the X and Y values are changed, we are going to animate those changes from the old state to the new one, which makes everything really smooth, you know. It's like, and there is also like this small springy effect, and everything is going to work. That was it, guys. I hope that you've learned something new about React Native Reanimated layout animations, entering and exiting animations, and with just a couple of lines of code, you can animate and transition different like view layout changes or mounting and unmounting. It's really amazing, and you have over 70 different pre-built animations for entering and exiting, and yeah, you can play around with them. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and seriously, if you are really passionate about React Native, as I am, don't forget to check out React Native Paradise 2025. Software Mention is doing incredible things for this community, and I believe this is a unique opportunity and unique workshop in general to spend 1 week with really experienced developers that can help you. See you in the next one.